Welcome back to the Communication Mastery Podcast with me, Mark Burlinson. In this season in 2026, we're going to spend some time looking back and replaying some of the episodes that some of you have asked about in your comments. And in between those, I'm going to be back with little snippets each week of helpful information that you can put into practice in your business, in your life, to help you grow your communication mastery. And this week, I want to talk about the 3 hidden reasons your team keeps misunderstanding each other and how to fix that. Because it's so important our teams work together and we minimize those misunderstandings, isn't it? So there are 3 different points that I want to make that are causes that your team will be misunderstanding each other. Point number 1 is that there's a lack of understanding of differing communication styles. So often we get so trapped in our own viewpoint, our own understanding of ourselves, or our own way, our preferred way of communicating, that we forget that there are 7 different communication styles. And so teams struggle because they don't understand how others are wired, how others communicate. So they assume that differences then mean that they don't get me. And so we take it personally when somebody's different, or we take it personally when somebody doesn't jive with the way that we're communicating. They're not on the same wavelength. But rather than taking it personally, we've got to learn to adapt some of those styles, because when I react in that kind of way, then I'll actually tend to intensify the way that I'm communicating in my own preferred style, and I'll come across too strongly and too rigid in one style. So digging deeper on your own preferred communication style, rather than understanding that there's benefits and advantages to all 7 styles, that can really be a problem and cause misunderstanding on a team. Another thing I see happen very often, when somebody feels like their preferred style isn't being received or isn't being understood, then they'll often withdraw. And so we lose their combination, what am I trying to say? That we lose their contribution to the picture and to the team. And when you lose somebody's input, then there's always going to be misunderstanding between that person and the rest of the team, or within the members of the team. That creates disconnection. It puts a block in our collaboration. And that's when the team is weakened, because I don't have that understanding of the differing communication styles. Once I teach people to understand the different styles, then they're much more able to see, oh, this person's communicating in that style. They can adapt to that. So a lack of self-awareness would be the second point, because in order to understand other people, I need to first of all understand where I'm coming from. If individuals on your team lack an awareness of their own communication patterns, their own styles, their own preferences, their emotional triggers, their impact on others, all of those things can shift the emotional tone of your team. That can bring a blockage or a hindrance to conversations, because people don't understand how they're coming across to other people and how that differs from how others might want to receive them. One of the things I often find myself doing is training those who have to communicate with teams or with larger meetings, how to make sure you address everybody in a style they can connect with and can relate to. Because otherwise you're creating feelings of rejection or defensiveness in the very people you're trying to make a connection with. So that lack of self-awareness is so important to address. For each person on your team, don't disregard the quieter ones. Once they gain self-awareness, they'll be able to make their contribution more effectively. And then the more prominent, louder voices on the team or around the table, to give them self-awareness as well, that you come across stronger than most people. And if you're not aware of that, then you're going to overcompensate for any differences. And that's going to cause a hindrance to our collaboration. And then the third point is that inability, I've mentioned it already, but that inability to adapt to others who are different. Once we can help people learn to adapt, that prevents them defaulting to their primary communication style. Because if a person believes that their preferred style, their primary style, is the only style they have, they're always going to run into difficulty because they're missing all 6 of the others. It's going to create distress for them and for the people they're trying to relate to and work together with on the team. It intensifies conflict because they just get zeroed in on one style. Even though it's causing a problem, they just push harder at that. It's a little bit like when we're on vacation in a foreign country and the people don't understand you. The temptation is just to talk louder and talk harder in your own language. And we all know that doesn't work. You have to adapt to what to the setting you're in order to be understood. So it shuts down effective teamwork when that happens. That inability to adapt to differing styles is one of the biggest challenges to teams being effective, teams being collaborative, teams having success in achieving their goals. We miss our adaptive potential when we exclude differing viewpoints, when we're not able to welcome the different strengths that people bring to the table. So the core truth I want you to take away from today's episode is that every one of us has facets of all 7 of these communication styles. The fact that you're familiar with your primary one does not mean you can't adapt to the other 6. You've got all 6 of them. And if a team mistakenly believes that their primary style is their only one or their strongest one, and they identify just by that one label, that will cause them to miss that adaptive potential that I talked about. Every team needs different people on it, and therefore the strength of the team is in its ability to adapt. So here's the path to solving some of these issues. This is the how to fix it for those 3 hidden reasons that your team keep misunderstanding each other. First of all, you need to develop self-awareness of your own communication profile. I can help you with that, of course. Secondly, you need to grow your understanding of all 7 communication styles. This is the one that so often teams miss. The more time I can spend deepening my understanding of all 7 styles, the more easily I can adapt to them. And then as we practice adaptation, this would be the 3rd step, practice adaptation and strengthen weaker styles in my own profile, or particularly focus on the styles in my profile that tend to react to other styles, to change that behavior into an adaptive behavior. And then as team leaders, we can help the team to apply styles intentionally at the team level. So in any discussion or with any challenge, we need this style to come to the fore. Let's draw that in from each person on the team. And then finally, we begin to embed a shared communication culture across the organization. And that's when we see the greatest strength from breaking down misunderstanding, breaking down miscommunication, and instead transforming it into strengths of a team where the team fulfills its potential. So I hope that's been helpful to you. Come on back next week for more that will improve and strengthen your communication mastery. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. It would mean a lot to me if you'd rate and review the podcast so it helps more listeners to find us. But also, would you give me your feedback on things you'd like to hear about in future episodes? And remember to share the episode with a friend if you see something that would benefit them as well. You can reach me with feedback through my website at markburlinson.com. Just click on the contact button and send me a message. I respond to everyone personally, and I really want to hear from you. So thank you again for listening, sharing, reviewing, and giving me your feedback.